This is Keke.
Hello, you guys. Obviously, it's me, Keke, here, ready to kick it with you today, per usual. And we're going to go into the topic at hand. What does it mean to be a black pop star? Yes, okay, I've been making music since the damn start of my career. 20 years ago. And I have seen many ups and downs in the music industry. But luckily for me, I've had some pretty incredible musicians to look up to along the way. And today, I'm so excited to welcome my guest who is joining me live in Cannes. Is it Cannes or is it Cannes or is it Canes? We don't know. Either way, he is a multi-platinum Grammy Award-winning hip-hop artist, producer, songwriter, and actor. And if that wasn't enough titles, he's also a superstar in the tech world. Talk about a man who knows how to keep a bag, okay? Please welcome to the stage the one and only will.i.am. You know your name is William. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to have you here.
Oh, it's good to be here. All the time I see you speak, entertain, sing, I'm like blown away. Like I was backstage, I'm like, yo, she is really good.
Stop.
For real.
Keep going. There's a lot of people out here that can give me some money.
No, really, Keke, like we all have neighbors, we all have family members, and you know how like you see special people and you're like, you got something, girl, or you got something, boy. If you weren't you and successful right now, there'll be so many people rooting for you to be who you are because you are just that magnetic.
Oh
for
my
real.
gosh, Will, stop it.
I'm serious.
Thank
like, for
you
real.
so much.
Like you see people and they successful, you like, why they successful? And then you see people that are successful, be like, I know why she's successful. You that.
Will, I love you so much. First of all, it takes one to know one because you have been dominating any industry that you've stepped foot in since the beginning, since we first met you with Black Eyed Peas. So I want to go, before we even get into all of that, I want to actually go back to the beginning with you, when you was that person that everybody kept saying, I see something, I see something. When did you discover your love for music?
Music was kind of like my camouflage in the projects. If you in the projects and it's thick, and your mama raised you right, and you more worried about your mom than the dudes on the block.
Right.
For me, it was like my safe zone. It was my camouflage to keep me out of trouble. The OGs in my neighborhood, the essays, the veteranos, they knew like.
Come on, accent.
Hey, that's Willie, dog. Like, look at that fool. So they knew I did music, and so that kept me safe. So that was like, it was more like my cloaking mechanism to like not, get caught up.
I love it. But I'm curious because you say you grew up in the projects. Obviously, as black folks, there are certain expectations or stereotypes that people can sometimes have for you, especially in music. And obviously the topic is being a black pop star, which you are. When you were creating and discovering your music sound, did you ever feel pressured to do what people would have maybe more so assumed you would do? Like, straight rap, hip hop, hardcore?
I got discovered when I was 16 years old, just turning 17, by Eazy-E from NWA. And that's a guy that gave me my first start. And
really,
he would always be like, hey, just do you, homie. Like, don't try to, I didn't sign you, to do gangster stuff.
Wow.
Although the projects that I'm from, you would think that that's the route that I would have went down. But Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul, that is who told me to be like free. So that's the music that I wanted to escape my reality with. Like, so you could write music about your reality, or you could escape your reality. So that whole concept, like, yo, keep it real. I'm like, I don't want to keep it real. I want to keep it imaginative. I want to keep it dreamy. Why do I want to swim in depression? Why do I want to swim in hate and just anxiety?
That is so important. It's so good to hear you say that, because I do feel like culturally right now we're at this place, entertainment-wise, across the board, whether it's music, whether it's TV, whether it's film, where I think reality is important, right? But like you said, there's escapism that you also want to have through art. And that's one of the things I always love so much about the Black Eyed Peas is no matter where you were, when you put that music on, you felt like I had a feeling. You know what I mean? Like, you feel good. It's like boom, boom, boom. You just feel... You feel good, and I think it's important that we have that. And when you talk about imaginative, when we were backstage, you were telling me that you went to magnet school.
Yeah.
And I want to know how your experience in school translated to your sounds and your music? Because obviously, we know you're into tech, we know you're into this, but you explained something that I want you to share with everybody out here about how that influences those interesting sounds that we knew came from Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, so I went to an all-black church, Greater Bethany. That's a church I got baptized, filled with the Holy Ghost at. And then I grew up in an all-Mexican neighborhood, but then went to an all-white school. And so Black Eyed Peas sounds like
all of that.
The configuration of like how I was raised. And so going to like a science magnet school where you're learning like physics and computer science at an early age, that's what really gave me my like appreciation and magnetism to the world of tech. And then music, I'm a musician because I play the MPC 60. That was my first instrument. First learned on the SP 1200, then the MPC 60, the MPC 3000, then Pro Tools. So I'm a musician because of the computer, not because I play the keyboard, not because I play the guitar. I play the hell out of the computer. And so from that perspective, I just wanted to learn everything about people that make computers. Like who programmed it, who funded it, how did this thing materialize? Like I'm a curious person. So if I wanted to learn like how Earth, Wind, and Fire wrote those songs, what were their influences, that same type of curiosity is like, yo, who made this device? Who programmed this software? Like, I don't just accept it for like, oh, wow. I want to know everything it is about it. And so that my school taught me how to dig deeper.
Obviously, you're a very, very intelligent person, but a lot of times it's hard to communicate that, right? A lot of times people don't know how to digest. But one thing you've been able to do through your art and your music is get people to feel and understand what you're saying. How I want to know your process of how you were able to get all the things you're saying right now and figure out how to transmute that to an audience, because it's not easy.
Yeah, there's a guy by the name of Big John from EMI. So Big John, I came to him.
I know Big John.
I came to him with a demo back in like 1996 when I was 5, and just
wow,
kidding.
we the same age.
I came to him in 1996 with a demo, and I wanted to get a record deal with EMI, and he says, "I can't tell you the songs aren't good. I can't say that you're not talented, but what I can say is that these songs aren't tangible."
Right.
What I can say is that these songs have no, there's no magnetism. I'm like, what? That's the most polite diss I've ever heard in my life. So I went back home like, I don't even know what the hell tangible means. So I looked up tangible. I was like, oh, something with the handle, something with the hook, something that people can grasp.
Yes.
And so from that point on, instead of writing raps to battle other rappers or writing raps to, ooh, that's a bar.
Right.
I wanted to write raps to enter your mind. I wanted to write songs that if I got ADD, then shit, you gonna remember this. Because it's hard for me to remember shit. So you definitely gonna remember this shit. So like that type of hooks. Simplify, summarize.
I don't think people realize how important that is. And I think for me, whether it is I'm hosting or whatever I do in life, my biggest thing is like, how can I master the art of language in every facet? Because I really care about the message of what it is I have to say. And one of the people that I think has done that incredibly well in our lifetime was Steve Jobs. When you think about how he was able, it was a time where we looked at technology and he was like, however difficult you can make it, that's what makes it incredible. And Steve Jobs totally turned it around and said, well, actually, it's how simple you can make it that is amazing. When you can make people that aren't into technology actually be able to touch and feel technology, everybody feels like they can do it, then you've really done something. And I know that you love technology. So I'm curious on how you made that transition. Obviously, you talk about in school, you liked it, but then ultimately music was in the forefront for you. How did you transition from, using music as your medium to also using technology?
So when you become successful in any field, the companies are gonna come. The politicians are gonna come. The NGOs are gonna come. So if there's an earthquake or a natural disaster, they call upon folks that have had impact in culture.
Right.
If a brand wants to sell a new product, they call in folks that have impact in culture to help sell that. If a politician is running for president or office, they call a politician to help bring awareness. So one day, I come home from tour and I tell Jimmy, I'm like, yo, Jimmy, let's use, yeah, Jimmy Iovine, like, yo, Jimmy, let's use our music to sell our own stuff. Let's make our own stuff. Let's make our own hardware. So Jimmy's like, well, you know why they call it hardware? It's because it's hard. I'm like, yeah, but we could, but come on, Jimmy, like, look at the stuff that you've done. You've done Tupac, Snoop, Dr. Dre. That's hard. This tech stuff ain't that hard. And we could use the power, the might of our reach to sell our own stuff. And so a year later, he's like, I was listening, I remember some of the things you were talking about last year. And Dre, his manager wants him to sell sneakers. What if we sell speakers? You want to be a part of it? So being a part of that whole journey.
Wow.
And one of the first things that we did was Boom Boom Pow, when I'm like, yo, I want to put the product in the song. Like, whew. I'll be rocking them beats. I was talking about headphones on that joint. And so that just showed us like what, Black entrepreneurship, us owning our own stuff, what we can actually do from culture. And we sold to HTC, bought it back, sold to Apple. And then from there, just fell in love with the concept of building teams. So I went to Israel, acquired a team from Israel, Bangalore, India. We started working in AI back in 2012, 13, 14, up until now. Just working with NLU, NLP, machine learning.
Oh my gosh. And the access that you have to these things. I mean, I know you do a lot of work with the Children of the Angels. Is that what's the
So yeah, my foundation, I Am Angel.
I Am Angel. How important do you think it is to make sure that these kids have these resources and connection? Because obviously, I mean, I want to see more Black people in the space of tech. So what's your path to getting them to be able to touch some of this stuff?
So in 2008, I went back to my projects. Because like I said, during the tsunami in 2005, I went to Bande Aceh, did tsunami relief. And every time something would happen, we would show up and be there. And so while I was there doing tsunami relief, I realized that there's a tsunami in not only my projects, but projects all across America, underserved communities all around the world. There's a tsunami every single day, a tsunami of neglect, tsunami of no preparation, lack of funds for education. There's an earthquake every single day, earthquake of police brutality, earthquake of just no opportunity. So I was like, why am I only showing up when something happens, when there's something happening in my neighborhood all the time? So I went back to my neighborhood. In 2008, I adopted a class of 65 kids, and we equipped them with computer science and robotics programs. And now those 65 kids have turned into serving just a little under 14,000 students in Los Angeles. We send kids to Dartmouth, to Brown, to Stanford.
Yes!
And preparing them. But back in 2008, we didn't, I mean, I knew the importance of it. I didn't know how soon we needed all to be up to speed on machine learning.
And communicating and get people to really understand it. Like the way that you talk about it, I think is beautiful because you're not afraid of it. I think that's the big thing is a lot of times, I remember when you talk about how you learned how to do beats, there was a time where people were like, only real pianos, only real da-da-da, and then you get lost trying to hold on to the past. You get lost on the beauty of new materials, new learning. And so I think that's the biggest thing that I see, especially with AI. I know you have your AI app. That is incredible. I did it backstage. They gave me like 10 tips on how to be a mom. I'm shook. But it's not about being afraid of this stuff. I think you said something really good about it where you said, it doesn't have to do all of it, but it can help with some of it. So I would love for you to speak about, FYI.
FYI.ai. So FYI stands for Focus Your Ideas, a new company that I started back in 2020. We launched last month.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. And it's FYI AI, Focus Your Ideas with AI. Imagine your messenger, your file storage, your file transfer, your collaboration tools with generative AI at the core. So for team flow, for strategy, curation, creation, all in one place in the form of a messenger. With generative AI at the core of it.
Like a little assistant.
Like a supercharger, right? It's an assistant means eventually the assistant can become the CEO. But in this case, it's a supercharger. The idea of replacing jobs, that doesn't really sit with me. The idea of creating new industries,
Yes.
it's going to take folks to be supercharged. So
I love the way you speak of that. It's empowering, and I think that technology can be, especially when you look at it that way.
yeah, so is it going to change music? Not our product. It will change it for the better, but would it alter how we used to do things? Definitely. It's inevitable. But new types of song creations, just like the record industry transformed what a song was compared to what a song used to be in 1700, 1800. When the recording industry came, songs started to alter it. And now the current concept of a song is what we know now.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
Speaking of music changing, that makes me want to know, like, is the way that music has changed, has that kind of changed your relationship with it? I mean, will we ever get a Black Eyed Peas album again? You're engulfed in tech, but not as much in music.
Oh, I'm still making music. But I tell you, last month, I heard the best song that I ever recorded, that I never sung, wrote, produced. It was the best thing I've
What
ever
you mean,
heard.
it was AI?
Yeah. It wasn't ours, though, but it was the best shit I've ever heard.
Wait a minute, how did you find it? Who did this? Who put it together?
A company, I'm under NDA, but I can't tell you the company, but I could tell you
This is some secretive shit, y'all.
it was like me, Michael Jackson, and I've worked with Michael Jackson before in real life. But this particular experience, this song I heard, was me, Michael Jackson, Chic, and Daft Punk.
Oh,
And
Daft
then-
Punk, yeah.
And in the middle of listening to the song, I removed Michael Jackson and put Anita Baker on it, and then remove Daft Punk and put Antonio Carlos Jobim, and the song turned into a samba mid-song. And then I typed in the lyrics, and as the chorus came back around, it sung the new lyrics. And then as it was singing it, I said, emphasize this word, and then it hit the high note. I said, put a vibrato at the tail end of that.
Wait a minute. I mean, this is insane.
No.
Obviously, you're not just an artist, right? You're also a producer. So you're producing still this same thing. But I want to know how you feel about devices like this and how that changes the lives of writers or people that are just singers, and you don't think there's any fear or worry with something like that when you can just as easily just
Okay, imagine you're Leonardo da Vinci,
okay, boom.
right?
I'm Leonardo. Hey, y'all, it's me.
And I came in a time machine and I bring James Cameron in here. And I'm like, yo, Leonardo, meet James Cameron. He's a director. And you'd be like, naturally, what's a director? Like, oh, he does motion pictures. And you, Leonardo da Vinci, you make pictures. Like, oh, no, it's kind of different. It's like 1,000, sometimes 10,000 images stitched together to make a moving picture, a movie. And you'd be like, 1,000, 10,000. It took me a week to make one. You mean to tell me there's 10,000 of them
Okay, I
stitched
get where
together?
you're going with it. I get where you're going with it.
It changed the concept of paintings and pictures, the film industry, these cameras that are all here. Did it change taking pictures? Did it create new jobs?
It's a supercharger.
It's a supercharger.
Yeah, I like what you're doing
So
there.
here's music. So is songs gonna change forever? Fuck yeah, they're gonna change forever. Is it gonna be deeper? Are there gonna be more redemption songs or more boom boom pows? More Where's the Loves or more Let's Get It Started? I think it's gonna push humanity to be more spiritual, write songs that are about something. And I wrote Where's the Love, I Got a Feeling, and Boom Boom Pow. But I think it's gonna force artists to write more Where's the Loves, because the machine is gonna create more Boom Boom Pows, the way that we know music today.
And in order to stand out and in order to create something special, you have to actually dig deep.
Gotta dig deep.
Only a human being, only somebody with a heart and a soul and experiences can do that, can
Yeah,
create a new
and connect
scenario.
emotionally.
Yes.
Improv's gonna be super important. Like, yo, they making that up right now. That's happening live right now. That's not the case right now in popular culture. In popular culture, people are reading from teleprompters They
Yeah.
rehearsing everything. Everything's perfect. There's no true like emotional rinse. There's no true like, oh my gosh, my whole world's got shifted. I'm looking at the world totally different.
What do you think's the reason for that? Some people say it is because it's easier, because people can bang, bang, boom. But, some people say that they would say what you're saying would change it is also what's made it stale.
I think it's formats. So I thank the Lord that Where's the Love is the song that we had success with because it was about something and it broke the format. Like no one would have thought that song would be, I didn't think that was going to be our first number one.
People dying.
Sing it, Keke.
This is one of the ones we know the vibe. We just know where is the love, the love, the love. Beautiful song.
Yeah, so that type of like songwriting, I think is going to be, what makes humanity humanity. Mm-hmm. And right now we're chasing the format, the algorithm so much that as soon as you have a hit or song, the record company says, let's see how it works on TikTok. Now, if we're writing to impact TikTok, well then the machine is going to do a better job at creating for the algorithm than we are guessing the algorithm. We don't truly understand the algorithm. So when it comes to like AI generated music, it will understand the algorithm in real time. So what are we left to do?
We have to start the trend. We have to set the stage. We have to be the leaders.
We got to hit the heart.
Yeah.
We need to hit the heart rhythm, not the algorithm. Yeah. We need to hit like that.
Come on. I love that. And I do think, when we're talking about technology and talking about, making that more easier for people to understand, it also kind of nullifies, like when I think about the next generation, I feel like they are going to really be able to see past, because they have had so much of the AI, so much of the algorithm, they're really going to be able to see past that and be able to also speak from the heart, like you're saying. You don't get to be where you are without having, obviously, an amazing support team. I know you're really, really close with your mom. How was she in your journey of finding music?
I was 11 years old. I'm like, Ma, I want to get a keyboard for Christmas. Boy, you ain't getting no keyboard making all this noise in this house. It's bad enough. It's already noisy up in these projects. I'm like, Ma, come on, Ma, let me get this keyboard. Boy, what I say, you ain't getting no keyboard. My mom ain't never got me no keyboard for Christmas. But she gave me Houdini and Biz Markie. And she had a double cassette deck that year. And she gave me Public Enemy cassette. And she bought my sister Teddy Ruxpin. And Teddy Ruxpin was you put the tape in the belly, and then Teddy Ruxpin would start singing. So I take the headphones and put it in the microphone socket, and then make a demo. And then put the demo in Teddy Ruxpin's belly. I'm like, look, Ma, I can make Teddy Ruxpin rap. She's like, boy, what you do? I'm like, look, Ma, he's rapping my words. And she was like, you should take that to school for show and tell. And so that was my show and tell that year. I went to school and I told Miss Taylor, was my third grade teacher, and I brought Teddy Ruxpin. I was like, I'm gonna make Teddy Ruxpin rap, make it sing what I said. And so I got an A and a whole bunch of happy faces and hearts. So that type of encouragement of like,
absolutely,
that's a good idea, Willie. She never got me the keyboard, but she gave me encouragement on believing in my wild ideas.
Okay, she gave you encouragement, but I heard also that she stopped you from being in the Michael Jackson video. What's the tea on that? So Michael Jackson filmed Thriller in the factories behind my projects. And all the veteranos came to my house. They were like, hey, Deborah, Michael Jackson's filming a video up the street. Let Willie come and dance in it. So my mom was like, Tobacco, get your butt up my porch. Willie ain't going out dancing in no factories. I'm like, Ma, come on, Ma. She's like, well, what'd I say? Get your butt back upstairs. And still to this day, like, Ma, how come you didn't let me go and be in that Michael Jackson video? She's like, and how do you know you were supposed to be in that? They were going to let you be in a video. You just would have been in them alleys. And if you hung out in them alleys when they filming a video, then you would have been accustomed to hanging out in them alleys when they wasn't filming a video. Okay.
And you ain't got no business in no alleys. And so I told that story to Michael Jackson when I was working with him.
It's
and he
incredible.
says, your mom is so sweet. Imagine. if she would have let you come and see us film the video, then we wouldn't be here right now because you would have saw that as an accomplishment. I'm like, oh, wow, you right, huh? But I still wanted to see you film Thriller. But it still came full circle.
Yes.
I still had that true north of like wanting to work and meet. And I know that's like, it sounds, that Disney, When You Wish Upon a Star, makes no difference who you are. Like, anything your heart desires. Right. I truly believe, if you truly, truly, truly believe with no doubt, you will manifest and attract that.
Yes.
Right. But you have to have complete no doubt, not ignorant, not blind, wish. Like true strategic belief with no doubt.
Yes.
You will attract all your dreams. Because they're not just dreams, they're strategies. Once you put logic behind your dream with no doubt, then that strategy will attract and you will find that path.
And I think so much of that ties into what you're talking about with everything else. It's like, we need people to trust their voice. We need people to believe, because that's when you get the beauty. That's when you get the authenticity. That's when you get a new perspective. I always talk about that. It's just like, it's in your head for a reason. So you got to be the one to do it. Nobody else was going to put a rap in Teddy Ruxpin. That was you.
Yeah.
That was you. That was your thing. What other artists inspired you growing up?
Oh, Q-Tip, Tribe Called Quest. That was every day.
I think he's here. Not here, but I think he is in France.
Yeah, and every time I see him, I thank him because his music gave me the stamp on my passport to like just be 100% you. So Q-Tip all day, every day, and De La Soul all day, every day. Rest in peace, Trugoy. And then Eazy-E, the business mind to have a misfit, in his realm, signed to Ruthless. Out of all the people he could have signed, he signed us in 1992. We never came out, but that's cool. That's all I needed was that, like, I see you. So
how important do you think it is to tell those stories? Because I think, when we think about you, obviously, it's just like, okay, yeah, you're one of the most successful artists in the game. But to hear that you had a situation where you want a label and your stuff didn't come out, or like, how important is it to talk about those experiences? Because I do think sometimes people assume that it's overnight, but success is kind of like, from my experience, it's all over the map.
Yeah, you have to be told no. If you're not told no, you will never know, right? So sometimes a no is a K-N-O-W, not a N-O.
And that's major, because that's reframing. You got to reframe. I always say, if at the end of the day, none of us really know what's going on and none of us really have absolute answers, well, why not let yourself believe whatever's going to make you feel good? Why don't I just believe what makes me feel like I'm going to keep going? And some people might call that delusional, but I'll be that delusional queen, honey. Every day, if it gets me to that next step, if it gets me closer to that dream. Because like you said, it's really not a dream, it's a strategy. Did you know when you wrote Boom Boom Pound, Where's the Love? I don't even want to ask, did you know? Because obviously, how could you know it was going to be a big hit unless you did? But when you saw how big those records became, I mean, what were you thinking? What was going through your mind?
Where's the Love was, we didn't know, have no idea. But on My Humps, yep, that was like deliberate. Like, yo, we need a hit. Like, Where's the Love was accident. Let's Get It Started was accident. We didn't know those things were. But now I got to make hits on purpose. And so one of the first songs I wrote, trying to find that hit, was Ordinary People. And I'm like, yo, John, look, I'm going to therapy right now with my girl, and she don't want to break up. I don't want to break up. I don't want to stay. She don't want to stay. Like, I don't got the answers. We're just ordinary people.
So we're just ordinary people. Y'all know why does John sing like that? I love that.
Yeah,
I love John.
So we wrote that hook together.
Wow.
And then we sung it wrong. And so he was like, yo, what you gonna do with that song we wrote? I'm like, oh, you can have that. I don't. But that was like trying to make a hit. And then My Humps was like trying to make like something that felt like JJ Fad and We're Here to Rock, something that felt like supersonic, something that felt like in the brain. I can't get it out. That was on purpose, those types of records. I Got a Feeling was like strategic. Like I would go to these birthday parties, I would go to weddings, I would go to
so
bar
good.
mitzvahs, I would go to bat mitzvahs, and I'm like, you hear the same songs. Celebration by Kool and the Gang, September by Earth, Wind and Fire. You hear these records. I'm like, I need a song like that. How can we get a record like those songs? And so I Got a Feeling was like,
I got a feeling.
like trying to write from that perspective.
And you gave us a feeling, man. I mean, what was happening in your life at the time that you wrote these songs? Because whatever was going on, I mean, that energy was hot. Because anytime that I hear any of these songs that you're talking about, or a Black Eyed Peas song in general, we all know what time it is. And it's like, it's time to feel good. It's time to have fun. It's time to be grateful. Like, it has such a warm, it's wholesome and cool. It's everything you need.
Yeah, those. So you're going through dark times. So in 2001, we went on tour on September the 12th. After the tour finished on November the 22nd, we wrote Where's the Love? So you're stewing and baking in just dark vibes.
Wow.
So I Got a Feeling was financial crisis. You turn on the news, mortgage people losing their homes, your family losing homes. Shit was thick in 2008. And so you write in that darkness. So looking for light.
I think that is so important to say. And I had talked to this writer-director once, and I was asking her, you know, she had did a high school movie, and she was talking to me about how she wrote the movie that she wrote. And she was pretty much saying she went to two different high schools. She went to a high school that was like rich kids, and then she went to a high school that was kind of like, you know, kids that, you know, maybe didn't have a lot. And she said when she went to the one where the kids didn't have a lot, they kind of was like, it was like, this is as good as my life's going to get. This is like the top, you know, and it was kind of like a weird, eerie feeling. And then she said when she went to the school with the rich kids, it was kind of like, I'm going to be going so many other places. This is like a pit stop in my amazing life that's to come. And she said when she wrote her movie, she wanted kids to feel good about where they were. She wanted them to have hope and excitement about being young and being in high school. And she wanted that experience artistically to differ from what actually the kids that were going to high school were feeling. She wanted to give them hope. And the movie that she ended up doing was Clueless. But I think it's so important because that's what that movie is aspirational. That movie, it made me think that was what high school was going to be like. I was disappointed, you know, because obviously it's not like that, but that's the point. And so I think it's so important what you're saying, because I do think, you know, we sometimes get wrapped up in art or, you know, where it's like, I got to be real. And it's like, you know, but what's not real about where you want to go and where you want to be? That's real too.
If you are born and raised, or you come from some pain, family problems that you've endured, or just neighborhood problems that is thick, sometimes the medicine is like you go inside.
Yes.
Sometimes it's cool to paint something else.
I want to know, because I think we all ask ourselves questions like this because we're seeing so many people do so many amazing things online, and there's a lot of compare and contrast, and it can be good, it can be inspirational, but it also can be stifling. What does success look like to you?
Right now?
Yes, how do you define success?
How many people I could help? So first success was like, how do I move my family out the projects? Not just my mom, but my uncles, my aunts.
Come on, extended family.
So that was an exodus. Like, and so like after I moved my mom, I had to be like, yo, Ma, can we get everybody else out? Well, if that's what you want to do. And so that was success. And so now it's like, okay, now I have success. What do I want to do now? I want to go back to my neighborhood and make sure the other kids are okay. People that I grew up with, their nieces, their nephews, their sons, their daughters. And so success now is like, okay, how do I scale that? How do I continue to do that? Because I've raised money for AI, also raised money to teach kids. And to raise money for AI seems a lot easier to raise money to make machines smart than it is for you to raise money to make people smart. Now that's fucked up, right? So firsthand, I've raised lots of money creating AI companies. There's companies out there to invest. Also have a foundation to get kids educated and up to speed. And every year we barely make it.
Wow.
Every year we barely are able to, and so I want to get to a point where I don't have to raise money.
Yeah.
I just could fund and scale it on my own.
And from your experience, why do you think it's? I mean, is it because people feel like they can make more money quicker if they're doing it for computers and AIs, et cetera, and they don't believe that that they'll get that return and they're looking for a return on kids? Why is it hard to get money to invest in our youth, in our country? Why is it so difficult?
Okay, let's answer that complex question real simply. Imagine everybody has phones in their hands. Imagine me and Keke say bye to each other, and then I fall off the stage and hit my head on that planter there. Most people are gonna pull their phone out to film it before they call for help, because everybody has their interior things that drive them. Just take that simple fact of what people will do when they have power in the phone. You can use that phone to do anything and everything, actually. You can learn a code, you can solve problems. That fucking smartphone is powerful as fuck. But if I was to fall off the stage, most of us would be like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And then ask the second question, is he okay? And then the third question, what can I do to help that person? So you apply that same basic thing that we all have to money, governance, because we all are conflicted with what's in it for us. Every single person, you apply that to the highest level of government, highest level with rich people. And there's very few people that will then rush or have the ability to administer CPR or skill to do that and solve the problem themselves. You apply that to everything, the basic stuff. People will pull their phone out and film before they help.
And the what's in it for us. I mean, I could talk to you forever, Will. Literally. You are so interesting and amazing. And I'm learning so much about Pisces. Because I told you, I just had a son. My son is a Pisces. If this is what Pisces is looking like, I got a genius on my hands.
Yeah, but then, you got some emotional issues on your hands. Because you're going to be like, Ma, I'm thinking these thoughts.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
Well, before we go, I always end the show with a little game, and this time we're doing Quickies with Keke, and I want to play it with you. Are you down?
Boom.
Okay, I'm going to ask you questions. You got to pick between. It's like one or the other type of situation, and they're really hard. Okay, so just get ready. You have to pick one song to listen to on repeat for the rest of your life between I've Got a Feeling and My Humps. Which song would you choose?
I Got a Feeling.
Why? Y'all agree? Y'all are like, yeah.
Because it's that type of boost when shit gets tough, to take it, self-confirmation, to get out of that cloud, you have to do that yourself. Tonight's going to be better. Because last week, to say that means you had to have a bad week, a bad month, and you're just tired of it, and you claim that tonight's going to be good. It's a self-proclamation of changing your own vibration.
I love that. Number 2, you have to pick one career. Would you pick working in tech or working in music?
Shit. Tech.
I knew you were going to say tech. Why?
Because you can make tech do music.
That's true.
You can make tech do anything. You can make tech be doctors. You can make tech. For real.
I can't wait to go backstage and ask you what you done signed the NDA for. I feel like you know some things.
Well, then I would be breaking my NDA.
I'm just kidding, y'all. He's not going to tell me. Wink, wink. Number 3, would you rather live in a world with AI or a world without it?
Ooh. Okay, I know the answer to that. Because I've already lived in a world without it, I will pick with it. Because I know what the other one looked like.
So even with what you said about how sometimes, we're quick to pull out our phones and all the things that could come with having technology right at our fingertips, you still would choose a world with it.
Yeah. So imagine we was cavemen and shit, living in some motherfucking cave. And motherfucking lightning bolt zapped the tree. Clap. And before that ever happened, when it turned night, we all just stood in our little area because motherfuckers couldn't see in the dark. And we all bunched up. Think about those tribes of folks that couldn't see in the dark. Until that day, that wild one weirdo came with the freaking branch with fire on it. And everyone said, yo, watch out. We could burn down the village. And some villages got burned down. But that light gave us the ability to see in the dark. And yes, and you have to be careful with what you do with that torch, with that light, and how you protect that light to always give you the ability to see or to heat when it's cold. So yes, it burned shit down, but look at us now. And so this is that moment, that village where the lightning hit and struck. And I've learned it's in our DNA. It's been passed on to us in our DNA on what to do with light. And if you believe in humanity, you know shit's gonna be straight.
I love first of all, love that and love you, because I remember when I was about 16 or 17, I started thinking to myself about success and how I want to be successful. And if there's something that I've got to understand, and there's something I've got to know, because what is the true difference between me and that person that I'm looking at that's extremely successful? And I think this conversation shows the reality of what that answer is. It's because it's the way you think, your mentality, the way that you are always looking for a positive, the positive way, the redirection, the reframing, the belief. I believe that that's really a huge key to success. And I mean, hearing you talk, I already feel like I can do anything. Because the way that you look at every situation is never glass half empty. It's always glass half full. Did you ever go through a time in your life where you weren't this way?
So one time somebody was like, yo, is it glass half full or empty? I'm like, I ain't thirsty. So it doesn't really matter until I want to drink water. But right now I'm cool, I'm straight. I've had a glass of water, so it being half full or half empty is not the issue. There was other issues that we were dealing with in the projects. I had a choice. I either could go super dark or super bright. I went as bright as you possibly can be, because that is survival. It's a different survival path. And that is like, how do I just extreme spectrum, turn on all spectrums, not just RGB, but I need to turn on my X-ray, I need to turn on my freaking gamma ray, I gotta turn on my freaking infrared, I gotta turn on my ultraviolet, all spectrum of light, bam, full blast.
The coolest thing about this is because that's what you keep selling us. You keep trying to sell us that mindset, whether it's in a song like I Got a Feeling, whether it's in a piece of supercharging tech. You have used each medium to sell that mindset. And I think that is so incredible. I'm going to quickly do these last two because I know we got to get out of here. You have to eliminate one passion from your life, F1 racing or tech. And I know you love F1 racing.
It would be F1 racing, because you could do drone racing with tech.
Bye. Okay. Last one. Who would you rather have dinner with, Prince or Michael Jackson?
Oh, there was this one time Michael Jackson called me. I was in Vegas. He's like, I heard you guys are doing a show today. I'm like, yeah, we got a show tonight. What time you guys go on? Well, we go on around 10 o'clock. Oh, rats, I gotta put the kids to sleep.
Not rats.
Yeah, I swear to God.
Rats.
Oh, rats, I gotta put the kids to sleep. I'm like, oh, no, but, we're probably gonna go on till 11:30, 12. Yeah, but still, I don't like to go. I like to see things from the beginning so I can get the whole intro, and the intro makes sense with the outro. I just don't want to show up halfway through. I'm like, but after the show, I'm gonna be playing with Prince at the Palms, at Rio. Why don't you come and see me rock with Prince tonight? He was like, oh, I can't do that. I'm like, no, seriously, you should come. It'll be cool. Prince is a meanie. I'm like, no. He's all cool. We were talking about you the other day. Anyways, make a long story short, Michael Jackson shows up, and it's Chris Tucker was there. There was a lot of folks in the house that were there that day. CeeLo Green was there. He saw that. I was like, yo, look, I brought Mike to see Prince. And so then after the show, so during the show, Prince comes with his bass, and he walks to the front of to the section where Mike was in, and he plays the bass in Mike's face. And then after Prince left, Mike says, why was Prince playing the bass in my face? I was like, I think he wanted to just, show you respect. He's like, no, he's a meanie. And so then his manager comes, her name is Romaine Bain. She comes to me and says, Mike wants to know, why didn't you acknowledge him while you were on stage? I'm like, hey, Mike, I just didn't want, you're here in a VIP, I don't want to blow your cover. Oh, no, it's okay. So then he whispers to Romaine, she comes back around, She says, Mike wants to know how come Prince didn't acknowledge him on stage. I'm like, that ain't my stage. Hey, Mike, I'm sorry, bro. I think he's just trying to protect your privacy. So then Mike says, why don't you come over to my house for breakfast in the morning? So I go to his house early in the morning for breakfast. And he's like, first thing he says when I open the door, why was Prince playing the bass in my face? I was like, I'm like, no, he loves you. He's like, no, he doesn't. One time he tried to run me and my mama over with a car.
A Virgo don't let nothing go.
No, I'm dead ass. This is real shit. So I'm like, what? No, that ain't true. He was like, well, I'm telling you, he's a meanie. And so that conversation ends. 2 months later, I get a call from Quincy Jones. And he's like, hey, man, when you going to give me that record, man? I've been waiting for the record for a long time, man. I was like, I just been working with Mike. He was like, look, man, you're going to be working with Mike all this time, man, and ain't nothing ever going to come out, man. I was like, no, you got to see Quincy. I brought Mike to come see me rock with Prince the other day. He said, you did what, man? Listen, man, if you got Mike to do that, man, you doing something, man. Because one time Prince tried to run him over with a car. I'm like, are you serious? He was like, yeah, man. Go on YouTube, type in Prince, Michael Jackson, James Brown, man. It happened that day,
Not James in it.
Yeah, so if you go on YouTube, type in Prince, James Brown, Michael Jackson, you'll see James Brown say, Micah, you out there? Micah. So then Michael comes on stage, does his thing, and then Michael whispers in James Brown's ear, shh, 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 shh. And so then James goes back on the mic and says, and give it up for Micah, because he insists that I bring up Prince. Prince, you out there, Prince? And then Prince is on the shoulders of his bodyguard, and they bring him up on stage. So then Prince gets up on stage and rips the guitar in half, and then he grabs on this pole that's on the stage, and he thinks it's secure, so Prince falls into the audience. So Prince thought that he was sabotage. And so from that point, that's when the infamous moment. But yes, I love those two cats, so I would pick both of them.
Oh my gosh. First of all, thank you for that story.
Yeah.
I thank you so much,
Yes,
Will. We
thank
thank you
you.
so much for coming on the show. And as always, it is time to part, loves, but I'll be back with you next week. And until then, you know it's your girl.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer.